Alrighty, welcome back. So I want to tell you about something that happened to me recently because it's going to tie in perfectly to today's episode. So if you don't know, I own another business as well. It's called Five Phillies Farm. It's in Pennsylvania where we do weddings and events. We've been doing this we're on our 13th season. So we are not newbies at this. We know what's going on. Okay. And so with this, I booked an event and this is a memorial event. So it happens very quickly. Like we have to get things done pretty fast. And something like everything was good, signed the contract, they were happy with it. And then all of a sudden I started getting text messages and she's like, hey, can we use a different caterer? Can we do this? Can we have that? And they were really, really nice about it. But like asking me to accommodate things and kind of like to make it work. And a few years ago, I absolutely would have. I would have said like immediately, as soon as I read the message, like, of course, I'll make it work, but I would have had that like panic in my chest. And I would have been like, yes, like, oh, no problem. I'll be happy to do whatever you need me to do. And I would for sure like show up and do the thing really well for them. But in the background and like afterwards, I'd be really mad at myself because it's like, I invested so much more of my own time. I invested so much more of our own money, things like that. Yeah. But this time, that is not what ended up happening because of all the work that I do. This time, I took a breath whenever I got the messages. I went back to the contract. I cited what we talked about and I really held the line. Like I did it very kindly, but clearly. Like, this is what we agreed to. This is what I do. This is what I'm really good at. And I trust that if we work within this capacity, like it's actually going to serve you better than if you try to do all these other things that you're asking for. And at first, they did not love it. There was some tension. And again, I had to work through that because I don't want to go back into that people pleasing. But because my mind has been rewired, it was okay. And then eventually, they actually said, okay, thank you. And like everything's going to be fine now. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, I'm telling you this because one, it's probably pretty relatable to something in your life. Or maybe in your business or in your life, you've had somebody push back on you and you've had to hold the line. And you're like always struggling with how do I hold the line but be kind and things like that. Right? I am telling you this because years ago, my nervous system would not have let me do this. Logically, I would have wanted to do this. I would have wanted to say, like, no, I can't do this. And that version of me had not done the work that I now know is so important. And I would have read those messages of asking for a different caterer, different up package, things like that, as like, I'm about to lose this. Like, this sale is gone. Like, this means that, and what's deeper than that, now that I know, is that like, I will not be provided for. Okay. And so I really encourage you, if you're dealing with something like this, to really lean in and like ask yourself, what is actually underneath of this? Like, what are you actually afraid of? And that's going to give you such great insight, okay, to what your body is feeling. So our brains are always telling us something and our body's always trying to tell us something too. So in this encounter, what changed was not necessarily my confidence, and it was definitely not just a mindset shift. It was not like, yes, it was a boundary, but it wasn't just like I was saying what somebody else was saying. What changed is that I actually did the work under the wound itself. And you've heard me talk about these wounds shape everything. These wounds were created back in your childhood whenever your nervous system was forming. And that wound for me specifically said that if I disappoint someone, that they will leave. And that my value is conditional on how easy I am to work with or how much I will please somebody. Right? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Because that wound that I experienced, I'm guessing that you are also experiencing that as well. It's going to look a little bit different for you, but you're experiencing it. Okay. So what this looks like for you specifically is that you have a story that you tell yourself about why you work so hard. And it usually sounds like really good, really noble. It sounds like you're doing it for your kids. Like you're trying to build generational wealth. Like you want your daughters to see what they can do. Like whatever it is, you want to be able to take your kids on a nice vacation, not because of the vacation, but because of the experience, whatever it is that you're telling yourself. And again, I do not want to take any of that away because that's great. And that God has put that on your heart. But what I do want you to do, and I'm going to encourage you to do, is to get like really, really honest. Again, what is underneath of everything? And this is a feeling that like you quite like, you can't quite name it. But you know that there's like some friction underneath of things. Okay. You have mistaken this wound for work ethic. And now there is work ethic from a godly, rightly ordered place, and there's a work ethic from ambition. And I talk about this in previous episodes where we talked about ambition from that wound and ambition from rightly ordered. It's the same idea. And the world keeps giving you awards for your work ethic, which then reinforces it, which makes it really, really hard to see. Okay. So right now, if you have children, I want you to picture, if you have a daughter or a son, whatever, I want you to picture her. She's 9 or 10, maybe, and she's watching you. And she's not just watching like what you're building or what you have built, but she's watching how you breathe, how you talk, how you eat, whether you can laugh, whether you are always like kind of somewhere else, like your brain's kind of like always over here. That little girl is not ever going to remember the revenue number. She's not necessarily going to remember the fancy trip. She's going to remember whether her mom seemed happy and joyful and present. Okay. And I know that that can be like such a gut punch, but it's such a good reality check at the same exact time. Okay. And so this is the hardest thing that I want you to really hear, is that drive that you have that has built a successful business, a chunk of that is not ambition. It's a survival response. And depending on the person, it can be more of a chunk or less of a chunk. But again, a chunk of it, a good chunk, is a survival response. It's a nervous system that learned very early on that performing meant belonging. And because of the way that we as humans are, we are clan people, right? Like, we are not made to live alone. And so therefore, if we do not belong, what happens? We are exiled. We have to work extra hard because we have to do everything ourselves. And that's simply just not how our biology is made. We are made to work in a unit. And that can feel so scary whenever we do not belong. So we do whatever we can to belong. Okay. And so like, whatever you have done to gotten you to this point, like, it has worked so well. And again, I do not want to discount that at all, because you have built something so impressive and so meaningful and so good. But again, it's not necessarily what God wants for you right now, because it has also trained your children to live with a mom who's physically in the room, but like emotionally somewhere else, mentally somewhere else. And this looks like practically checking your phone all hours of the day. This looks like opening your fridge. I actually just wrote an article about this. Opening your fridge and staring inside, not knowing what to cook for dinner. This looks like writing an email and your kid coming up asking you a question, you snapping at them. This looks like maybe showing up for all the kids' events, but again, like always being on your phone or thinking about something else. Okay. And your family has noticed, but depending on how old they are, they have stopped asking you to watch things with them, like to watch those experiences, to watch what they're doing, right? Or if you have younger ones, maybe like my 4-year-old loves to do this thing in the pool where he like for an hour, he can be like, "Mommy, watch." And it's like literally just him like jumping in the pool. And for him, it's like the greatest thing in the world. But if I wasn't present and being like, "Oh my goodness, this is so fun," then he would eventually learn like, "Oh, my mom doesn't really care that much. So therefore I'm not going to ask her to watch me anymore." Okay. So again, this affects not only your business, but it's also affecting your family. Because that pattern does not just live inside of you. It is moving to the next generation unless and until you do something about it. And I promise this is not like any sort of condemnation. Like, I promise you it's not. This is an invitation. And I know what it feels like to get this invitation, and it's really uncomfortable. But this invitation is going to change everything for you if you say yes. Okay? Because the woman who have built something incredible from this wound, like, imagine what you can do if you actually healed the wound. Can you just imagine that? If she were to heal that wound, like, imagine what you could do. Right? And we see this even in the Bible, where in Psalm 127, it essentially says, like, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Right? Nothing that we do is our own. It's all God. Right? And it's only by his grace does anything even work. And so if that is you, if you are the person whose husband has stopped bringing certain things to you because like you immediately go into fix it mode, your kids tell dad first, or like, again, you stare at the refrigerator wondering what to cook for dinner. You're looking at your phone. You're always thinking like, when is the next sale going to come in? When is this going to happen? Or you have like a bajillion text messages that are unread. And like, you know, deep down that you are such a good friend. You're such a good mom. You're such a good wife. You want these things. But it's like, you don't even know how to make it happen right now, because it's like you haven't slowed down. And your body has been sending you like memos of being like, okay, we need to change this. But you just kind of keep pushing it back because you're so strong. And because you can, because you're so strong. But physically, this looks like those, like, you're waking up at 2 a.m. It's 11 p.m. and you want to check your email. You check your phone first thing in the morning, whatever it is. You're reading a book to your kids and you're thinking about something else. Maybe you're at church and you're thinking about something else, whatever it is. And again, these aren't necessarily bad things all the time. Some of it is just human nature. But if we are desiring this other thing more so than what we're desiring what's right in front of us, that's where there's that issue. Okay. And so, again, this is not about you're not trying hard enough. You're probably trying way too hard. And when you try too hard, you actually cannot receive as God intended, because as women, we are meant to be receivers. This is not saying that we do not work hard, but this is saying that we need to be able to receive in order to actually grow, in order to actually make beautiful things. Right? If you look up the etymology of woman, it literally talks about reception. Okay. And we obviously need that like alpha, omega energy, that masculine, feminine energy, but we don't want to have too much of that masculine, because then that negates all the beautiful gifts that we have as women. So again, what I want you to sit with right now, and this can be really hard to reconcile because you're probably like, but Brigid, everything looks great. Like everything's fine. But if you're listening to this, I know that you know that something underneath of you is saying like, warning. So again, what I want you to reconcile is that there is some version of you right now that you know is running her business from a different place, that is running her life from a different place than you are right now. You know that this other person makes decisions from a peaceful place, not from this like fearful place of what happens if you don't make this decision. There's a person who delivers really, really great, amazing results for the client, but does not over deliver and then feel resentful. That woman that you're desiring to be is totally possible, but only if you accept the invitation in order to heal it. And thanks be to God, like He has given us this invitation. He wants to heal us, but He will not force it on us. He has to be invited into it. And so this is, again, your invitation to invite God into this healing. Okay? So I want to leave you with something to practice this week, because again, I know so many women struggle with this. I want to call it the like dinner table check-in. Okay. So, and it might feel really uncomfortable at first, or you might be like, Brigid, I already do this. And if so, then we'll take it one step further. So this week, every single night at dinner, I want you to sit with your family and actually eat food. I want you to leave your phone in another room. Like, don't just put it face down on the table beside you. Don't just like put it on the chair beside you, but put it in another room. And notice what happens when you do that in your body. And you don't have to like be like, what does that even mean? Notice what happens. Notice what your body starts to feel. Do you start to feel a little bit of panic? Do you start to like want to go check it to see if anything happened whenever you didn't look at it? Okay. And if you want to take it a step further, turn your phone off and put it away for the night. If there is some emergency, somebody will get a hold of you some way. Okay. And while you're at dinner and your kids start asking you questions, or your husband's trying to ask you questions, I want you to allow these conversations to come in one ear, for you to really truly process it, and to not necessarily fix anything, not like advise, just to receive them. Okay? Receive it. Listen to them. Look them in the eyes. And then after dinner, before you pick your phone back up, before you turn it back on, I want you to just think for a second, like, how did that feel to sit and be really, really present with them? Because yes, this is great for them, but this is also training your nervous system and theirs at the same time to learn that being still does not mean something is wrong. To not always be accessible does not mean that something is wrong. Okay? Because your family needs you to show up for them more so than you need anything in this business. God's going to do the business, but God has put you here to do your family first. And then the business will come because of the result of rightly ordering everything in your life. Okay? And so right now, I would love for you to practice this tonight. If you do it, message me. Let me know what you think. Let me know how it has helped you. And if you are like, wow, I need more help with this, then I really want you to join the Summer of Expansion. Yes, it started last week, but you can always jump in. We are only on week 2. This week, we are talking all about how hiding is not humility. And again, it's so good. We've already had so many great breakthroughs with the women in there. And so right now, again, go practice this with your phone. Message me how it goes. Join Summer of Expansion. And looking forward to see you next time.